Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I ran a few minutes late. Apologies.
Everyone, apologies, I'm a few minutes late as well.
No worries. Um, Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Hi, Kumar. Hi, Erica.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Heiji. Thanks for joining.
Hey,
Hi,
Solomon.
Eli. Hi, Anidi. So thanks, everyone, for making this call. I think we have about 7 viewers at the moment watching live. So to begin with, I have a very, very short agenda item I put together. Just run quickly through that. Um, Trying to share my screen. Okay, so briefly, for the agenda items, just for today's call, we'll be having a bit of introduction right now and a bit of housekeeping rules, some instructions or some information around how to, engage with the speakers we have on the call, and then move on into the actual presentation by EJ. So to begin with, can we meet with the Google team? I can start by introducing myself. My name is Solomon Awushukme. I am program manager on developer training program working from the Nigeria office. I work closely with Anedi and Lai on the call, and I'm responsible for working closely with the developers and clubs, club leads we have across sub-Saharan Africa. I'm excited to be here, and it's always a rare privilege to meet with you guys. Um, I don't know, anyone like to go next? Quick round of introduction.
Sure, I'll go next since I'm presenting. This is Ajay Himnani here. I'm part of the Google Cloud training team. I'm also working with Soumya and Solomon and the rest of the team on DSC-led cloud study jams. So, I'm excited to be here.
Cool.
I think I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Lai, and I'm on the DevRel team. I work with communities and work very closely with Anedi with managing the duties all around sub-Saharan Africa. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It would be great if you can turn on your camera just for people to, this is a live call on YouTube. Just be great so you can see faces.
Hello. I'm Erica Hansen in New York, and I lead the Developer Student Clubs program globally. And I've been at Google for 12 years and love working with students and student communities. So I'm super excited, and I love cloud as well.
Hey guys, I'm Komal. I've met some of you. I am based out of New York. I help Erica with Developer Student Clubs globally as well. So excited. Solomon, thank you so much for setting this up. And Ajay, Danny, I know how early it is. The time and effort that you guys are putting in to provide this content for our leads and core team members is extraordinary. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Kumar. And thanks to the rest of the team for making this happen. It's had a bit of power outage here. Okay, so Danny.
Hello, everyone. I'm part of Google Cloud training, helping with the developer student program more in the coordination of activities. Very happy to be here and wonderful to have everybody on the call today.
Cool. Anedi?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Anyedi. I work out of the Lagos office. We work focused on communities, Google developer groups across sub-Saharan Africa. I'm happy to be here, and sure, working very closely with Solomon to ensure the success of the Developer Student Clubs program all across the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on from here, just a few housekeeping rules. For today's call, we're going through a couple of things. One, so the live call will basically be a presentation session by the Google team. We have AJ here who will be speaking on the cloud study jams, talking around the tools, the opportunities available, and how you can navigate your way around hosting your first cloud study jam. Apart from that, we'll be able to take questions. But since it's a live call, we have created a Slido account. I'll just go ahead and share my screen and just show you a quick demo of what that looks like. Just a few minutes. Okay, great. Okay, so you can go ahead, add on to SLI, SLI.do, and right there you can ask questions. Yes, so if you can visit this, you can go to sli.do, and right here you can join the call using the code #SSA Cloud Jams. Moving away quickly from here, I would quickly pass the baton down to AJ to just carry on from here. AJ, over to you.
Thank you so much, Solomon. I'm trying to get connected on that app you just shared. All right, I think I'm in. Okay, cool. I'm also going to go ahead and share my screen so everybody can take a look at the deck. All right, can everybody see the slide deck I'm sharing on screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Hi again, everyone. Thanks for the time. I'm very excited to be doing this again. Now to the broader SSA team. We ran a pilot with, I think, 20 folks in Q4 with Solomon's help, and we got some great feedback, great participation, great attendance, and people are excited. And so I'm like so much more excited that we are opening this up to all the leads and all the core team members this year. So before we get into the slides, let me just give you a very quick overview. So we'll spend like 20-25 minutes on the slide deck, and then we'll have time for Q&A. But I'll be sure to pause every now and then, and I'll take a look at the app that Solomon had shared, just to make sure that I'm not covering too much before answering your questions. And so with that, this is what we call internally we call this a pitch deck. Basically, it talks about what is a cloud study jam, why do you want to offer a cloud study jam to your attendees, what's the benefit, and so on and so forth. And then we wrap it up with some next steps, so what you can expect after this call. Okay. So before I get into the very specifics about what is a cloud study jam, I want to spend like the next 5 to 7 minutes talking about cloud in general. Those of you who are part of the pilot, you've taken a look at this deck. I'm guessing many of your peers also may already know what cloud is. You may have tried Google Cloud more specifically, but just so for the benefit of all, let's take a look at some of these quotes. Yeah. So up on screen are quotes from Gartner, Capgemini, Forrester. I think the theme is central here, which is we're going towards a cloud-first world, right? It's already become super important, and it's only going to become even more important and part of our lives in the years to come. And so I'm very happy to be working with the DSC team Erica and Komal, and the fact that they're making cloud and cloud study jams one of the core themes for DSC this year. So thank you guys. So when we start thinking about cloud, in the IT world, it becomes important to start comparing about the roles we've seen in this part of the world, in the IT world, sorry, that have evolved over time. Like if you think about a developer, a programmer, in the past you'd have to worry about setting up your server, installing softwares, and all that good stuff. But now we're going towards a more cloud native app developer, right? So you're still developing the same stuff. You're developing apps, developing websites, online store locators, and online store shopping buckets, all that good stuff. But now all is done from the perspective of the cloud. And with cloud becoming more popular, there's also new roles that have come up, like data analyst, data scientist. Now you don't have to spend time like installing an Oracle database, making sure the performance are tuned, materializing your tables and so on and so forth. So all these things are kind of taken care of. Like they come with the product, right? And also with the advent in machine learning, roles like data scientists now are becoming very, very common, right? And all is made possible because a lot of the tasks, a lot of the activities that you would typically spend time on up till very, very recently are now just there for you. It just works out of the box, right? And so one of the questions that we typically get a lot, and my understanding is a lot of you come from this background as well, of an app developer, and more specifically mobile app developer. The one question in your minds could be, like, how does cloud apply to me? Like, I'm developing mobile apps, right? I mean, cloud sounds like something else. So how does it apply to me? So we're going to come back to this question. But before that, it's only fair if I answer the question, like, what is cloud, right? And so typically when we talk about cloud in general, it covers a lot of online territory, but you can think of it as three buckets, right? So cloud is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And so it typically comes in one of these flavors, or could be a bundle of more than one. And so we'll take a look at each of these and what does that mean. So infrastructure as a service, and this is basically your machines in the cloud, right? These are your virtual machines in the cloud. You get to access them, you get to configure them, you get to set them up, but you don't have to be able to physically touch them, right? And since it's easy to configure and set up one, you can also configure it to scale. Like today, you set up your shopping site on 2 compute engines, and then in a month, your business booms. Your number of visitors grows. How do you deal with that? It's easy. Just replicate the machines, right? From 2, you become 20. So it just scales very easily. And even some of the very basic building blocks, like the networking, the storage, all that comes under this bucket, right? So infrastructure as a service. So we can talk about things like cloud storage that provides you storage, the basic networking that comes when you sign up on GCP platform. So all that good stuff is there for you. And typically at this level is where you as the user, the network admin, the server admin, the administrator in general, gets a chance to configure it the way you want it, right? It's just that, all things like availability, scaling now becomes so much easier, right? You don't have to buy physical servers, connect them up. Everything is just there for you to choose and use. Next bucket is platform as a service. So let's say, again, comparing with how we were doing things a few years back. Once you set up your server, what do you do next? You want to start writing your application logic. So what do? You start installing softwares like Java, Python, all that good stuff. So you install that, you install the versioning, you got to get that correct. You have to install the updates, make sure you do a lot of configuration. So all that good stuff can be taken care of very easily by cloud and is already taken care of. That's what we call platform as a service. So when we talk about platform, the examples that come to mind are App Engine. I'm not sure how many of you have tried it, but App Engine is a development platform that comes with things like Python already installed, Java already installed, and any updates, any new version of the software just comes out of the box, right? I mean, it's already there for you to upgrade to. And so the idea is we want developers to spend more time thinking about their app, thinking about their product, thinking about their application logic, and spend much less time thinking about how do I maintain my software, how do I resolve bugs, and so on and so forth. So all that is taken care of by the cloud. And the final bucket is software as a service. And so the easiest example the most ubiquitous example I can give you is emails. We all use email services like Gmail and whatnot, and so that is software as a service, right? There's nothing to configure. You just go to the login page if you don't have an account already, create an account, and then it works, right? You start using email, Google Photos. Again, nothing to configure. If you already set up the account, you can put photos there. You can share photos. You can modify photos. These are all great examples of software as a service. So those are the three main buckets of when people generally talk about cloud. And so we want to come back to that question just now, right? I promise that I will answer this question. So again, I'm a mobile app developer. How does cloud apply to me, right? And so right here, as a mobile developer, you'll be writing some code, obviously, for your app. You'll have some data you're going to work with, right? And so, going from left to right on the screen here, when we talk about application data, maybe you're designing a mobile app for some game, right? So you'll need to have user information data. You'll need to have a leaderboard because this is like a multiplayer game. And so you start thinking about, wait a minute, I got to store some of this data. Where do I store it? Well, is it textual data? Is it relational data? Is it object data? Is it videos? So when you start thinking about different data types and your needs, like for example, do I need to run SQL queries? If you're storing like shopping data, then yes, probably it's worth to have it in a relational format or not, whatever you think is fit for your app, right? So on here, on the left part of the screen, you see a number of products listed like Cloud Storage, Data Store, Bigtable, Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner. One thing that's missing is BigQuery. So all these products help you store data. Some are SQL based, some are not. Some give you like up to the millisecond response time. Sometimes you need a more reliable storage. You don't really care about the response time, so that's great. We have products for that. If you need much faster response, we have products for that too. Let's say, for example, you're doing some real-time streaming, right? So you might think about Bigtable to be a good candidate for storing your data. All that good stuff, right? So that's for your application data, right? Very much applicable to a mobile app developer. Then you start thinking about application logic. Okay, so if we're still using the example of that mobile game, there'll be a bunch of players. They'll be competing for a title. You got to get some points. So you got to start writing this application logic, right? So the two examples that you see on the screen are App Engine. Like I mentioned, that comes out of the box with Python installed, Java installed. There's many other software environments that are already installed. Or if you start thinking about containers and Kubernetes because you want a consistent experience and everything to just be the same across any kind of physical device that you run on. So you just bundle it within the container. You start talking about Kubernetes and all that good stuff. And so it all depends on how you want to design that logic, right? And finally, the integration, right? These are all Google products. The left side and the middle side of the screen here are listing down examples of GCP products. But these guys integrate very well with other products that Google has to offer, like Google Maps APIs, and YouTube. There's very tight integration. And so if you're designing a shopping site, right, and you want to have a store locator as part of your site, right, in your mobile app. So there's very easy tight integration with Google Maps. So you can easily do that because there's this integration already taken care of. All you got to do is display your 3,000 geocodes on a store locator map. So that becomes so much easier. Just read from your data, use some application logic, and bam, your map appears to all your users. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here and quickly jump into the site that Solomon shared. All right. Okay. Often people confuse Firebase and Google Cloud. What's the best way to demystify the two? Okay, so that's a great question. Let me come back to that in just a minute. Second question, hello, during pilot, I was unable to achieve the Coursera certification because I exceeded quota for one lab, but had completed the rest. Okay, so I'll touch that when we get to the quick labs part and Coursera stuff. I think that's the same question. How does Google Cloud apply to me? Okay, great. Okay, Thank you for the question, guys. So keep them coming. I'm going to start by talking about the very last one because that's the most relevant. It's okay. There's one more now. I'm going to touch on this one right here. I'm a UI UX designer. So how does that cloud apply to me? So when we talk about these things more specifically, like application data and application logic, yes, that comes in different tiers. But if you are more on the design side of things, you'll think about hosting your design, right? You hosting your UI. Where do you host it, right? So again, App Engine is one of the best candidates because, again, like I said, it comes with Java, Python, many other softwares installed. So you can think about, on your front end typically is tied up very closely to your application logic. Like you have your welcome site, right? That's your customer facing site. But then, you don't want it to be like a static design, right? You want it to mean something. You want it to do something. And so it typically what we've seen is it could be tied up very closely to the logic. And so you need to start thinking about where your logic is going to reside and how it's going to talk to your UI. So that's one way of going about it. How can we go about facilitating people that have already used up the GCP trial? So that's a very great question. So I'm going to talk about that right now. So that's the last question over here. For that, I will need to answer what is a cloud study jam. So let me jump ahead one slide and talk about this first, and then I'll come back to the examples. So what is Cloud Study Jam? Cloud Study Jam is an in-person event. So you as a DSC lead or you as a core team member could run this 4-hour in-person event. So think of it as classroom training. You're in the front of the class. And we don't give you too much slides to present. This is a hands-on based session. So there are 4 labs for you to complete in this session, right? So the Cloud Study Jam is an in-person event. You lead it. There'll be attendees, let's say 20 folks you're delivering to, and then you're going to do 4 labs with them. So up on screen, let's say you have a projector going on there. You go into our platform called Quick Labs, and then you start with lab number 1, which is how to configure, how to set up a virtual machine in Google Cloud. You'll walk through the steps, you'll do with them, or you just show them how to do it, and then they'll do it. And then once they're done, they move on to lab number 2. So it's very practical, it's very hands-on. Now, the beautiful part about this is it's free access. So for you as a lead, as the facilitator, and for all your attendees, they get free access, right? And in the end of this demo of this presentation, I'm going to do a very quick labs demo, and it'll become clearer to you, how the platform looks like, how do you log in, and all that good stuff. But the key thing here is it's all free. So I know that some of you may have already tried using GCP platform using the free trial, right? So typically free trial is for anybody and everybody who wants to try out GCP, right? So they give a free $300 credit, but once you run out of it, you have to put in your credit card. So by being part of the Cloud Study Jam program, you don't have to worry about that. We don't ask for your credit card. We don't ask you to register by putting down money. No such thing. It's all free. And once you attend this and you complete a number of labs, the quest, you get to earn badges that you can display in your LinkedIn profile. So again, there's no need to register with your credit card. So if I'm reading this question again, my understanding is GCP free trial is not a Cloud Study Jam specific thing. It's a very general, so any person can go to GCP site and put down their credit card number, and get started with a $300 credit. I think at least that's how it is in the US. Maybe the number differs slightly in other regions, but that's the whole idea. If you were part of a Cloud Study Jam during the pilot and that has ended, that's fine. Every time a lead starts a new session, all the attendees who use that event URL will get a brand new 30-day period. So for the 30 days, you could be accessing Quick Labs and doing all the labs that are available in the catalog. So I hope that answers the question. There's many more, so keep them coming. I'll try to get through them by the end of the session. So let me jump back to this slide right here. So we talked about this. So just to wrap up that discussion on cloud in general, we're highlighting two very specific mobile use cases or customer case studies that have become very successful. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this link right here. The first one is Pokemon, and so right here, right from the beginning here, you can know that they're using Cloud Data Store. Cloud Data Store is one of our storage options, and if I scroll down a little bit here, they've wrapped up their logic in Kubernetes, so they're using lots of containers there, right? And for something like this to work, they needed something with great networking power that they could rely on. And so after testing and even after their pilot phase and go live, it's still going strong. So that's great news. The other example we have is right here, called Greedy Game. And so they're a mobile game advertising offering. And so again, if you scroll down a little bit right here, they decided to go with Google Cloud Platform. They did some evaluation. And so in the back end, they're using Google BigQuery, right, which is our SQL offering, SQL-based storage offering. And then they're using Google Cloud Vision API. So for those of you who are excited about our ML machine learning offerings, Cloud Vision API is one of our ML APIs. There's no model to train. There's no TensorFlow to do. It just works, right? It can recognize images. In the same way, we have Speech API, Video Intelligence API, and they just work because Google has done all the training for you. They keep perfecting the model with more data that comes in, and so all you got to do is use these APIs. And for the machine side of things, they've used Compute Engine, which scales very well for them. And so again, this is just a good example. These are just good examples of customer cases where you can see that there's different kinds of things you can do even in the mobile world, right? So we talked about a mobile game and also mobile game advertising provider, and there's many other such examples on our site. So feel free to check out cloud.google.com/customers, and then you'll find many more examples. So I started talking about this slide to answer a question. So once again, when you run a Cloud Study Jam as a facilitator, so you will be instructing a group of attendees, and they'll be doing together with you a group of labs, right? So we typically wanna get you to do 4 labs with them, right? These are 4 very basic labs about Google Cloud Platform. So there's the first lab is about Compute Engine, which is a virtual machine. There's a lab on storage. There's a lab on getting up and running with some of the common things in the marketplace. So these are very basic, very foundational stuff, right? But then the question, from our pilot, one other thing we learned is people are excited to go beyond that. Like, what do you want to do other things besides the 4 basic stuff? Let's say some of you are already familiar with it. So that's the beautiful part about a Cloud Study Jam. So starting from the day of your event, where you complete these 4 labs with the instructor, with your DSC lead, the attendees have the next 30 days to go back into Quick Labs on their own and do any lab they want in the catalog. Think of it as a buffet of labs, right? The last time I checked, there were like 230 labs. So this is from all the basic stuff to Kubernetes, containers, machine learning, doing a lot of data engineering stuff, networking stuff, even stuff like dialog flow. If you want to come up with your own chatbot or chat assistant, voice enable, all that good stuff. So you got a pretty good variety of labs. But the Cloud Study Jam format is standard. So we always want to get people to do the basic stuff, and so get them familiar with Google Cloud Platform. And so we have a recommended list of labs that we want you guys to cover with your attendees. And then beyond that, in the session, we also give you an option. Once you complete the first 4 labs, you can also go into a slightly more interesting topic, whatever tickles your fancy. And so we have options between container-based lab and also something more data science, data engineering. So this is more towards the machine learning side of things. That's more of a demo that you would do for your students, for your attendees. and then they can go back home and try it out or try any of the lab out. Like I mentioned, we offer it through a quest. A quest is nothing but a bundle of labs, and so if your attendees complete a quest, they earn a cloud badge, and they can use it. Gives them bragging rights. They can show it off on the LinkedIn profile, for example. Again, the key thing here is there's nothing for you to pay, nothing for the attendees to pay. No putting down of a credit card. It all comes free, right? And to further sweeten the deal, if you complete a quest in the first 30 days, right, after your event, your attendees go home, they do more labs, they complete a quest. A quest is typically 7 labs. They get a badge, and they get another 30 days of access. So that's 60 days in total. Yep. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So here's the list of the labs that we want you to cover with the attendees. This is just a sample agenda, right? You don't have to start at 9. You could do this in the evening. You could do it anytime you want. But this is a 4-hour schedule. And in the 4 hours, you will get a deck, a slide deck that will have a slide or 2 talking about each lab, like creating a virtual machine. What is a virtual machine, right? What does it look like? What am I going to do in the lab, right? What are the steps? And so there'll be a slide or 2 covering each of these labs. And so in the next, I believe 2 weeks from now, we'll have another session where I'll be walking you through the attendee slide deck, right? But in this session, I just want to do a quick overview and also do a very quick demo of lab number 1. So where's the platform, what's the URL, how to log in, and just do the basic stuff. So we want you to cover the 4 labs with your attendees. Once you get through those 4 labs, you have an option to demo one of the 2 labs. So Docker, container, Kubernetes, or scientific data processing. So there's 1 lab in each path. So that's your choice. We leave it up to you. If you're more towards the ML side of things, that's your gig. You can do the scientific data processing. Or if you're interested in Kubernetes, or if your attendees are interested in Kubernetes and Dockers, you can cover that demo. And then there's a little bit of discussion on how they can use Google Cloud Platform for their project. Doesn't need to be mobile, but my understanding is a lot of you come from a mobile background, but this could be anything depending on the attendees that you have. But even though the workshop ends on that day, the relationship you have with your attendees, the journey doesn't end there, right? It doesn't have to end there, because like I said, from the day you do your Cloud Study Jam, your attendees have 30 days of access to quick labs, and so they can do any other lab outside of these 4 labs, right? Like I said, there's more than 230 labs available in the catalog, so yeah, go crazy with it. Just do as many labs as you want. All of them are free in those 30 days, and like I said, if you complete a quest, you get another 30 days access. So 60 days worth of access for you to do labs, all free of charge. Okay, I'm going to cover this slide, and then I'll pause for some more questions. What do your attendees need to bring, or what do they need to be familiar with before they come for the event? So it's not the end of the world if they don't know Linux and basic Unix commands, but it will be very, very helpful, right? Because one of the labs, I think lab number 2, is about Cloud Shell. There we go. And so that's where we run a bunch of gcloud commands, Linux commands. And so if they know how to work with VI or Emacs or Nano, they'll be helpful. These are just examples of editors. And just run some basic commands like, ls and create a file, save a file, all that good stuff. But yeah, in the past, I think those who were involved in the feedback, they shared some feedback on it. Some of them, even went the extra mile and came, like had your own sort of cheat sheet available for anybody who was not familiar. So thank you guys for coming up with that. But yeah, just keep in mind that it's good to have, and there's a lot of these resources available online. So if you just do a search, you'll have many resources online that tell you the 10 commands you need to know on Linux and whatnot. And so just gonna include that in your communication before the start of the class, right? Maybe a week or 2 before the start of the class. This is a hands-on, practical kind of session, and so we would expect everybody to bring their laptop. I'm not expecting people to carry their desktops, but if you are booking a venue and that comes with desktops. That's great. The one thing, though, I mean, having a laptop is essential, obviously, but everything is browser based, and we recommend Chrome browser so that you get the best experience. Internet connection is super essential. I cannot overemphasize this. So this was one of the feedbacks from most of the pilot sessions we did in the 3 regions, and so for some folks, internet connection seemed to be an issue. So if you have a way to test it out, to confirm before the start of the class, maybe even a day before, that will be super helpful. The final thing, you don't need a projector because you will have the attendee slides. The attendees will have the attendee slides. It's just that it's easier for them to follow if they're looking at something on screen, especially when you're doing the labs, right? And so if you have a screen or a projector, that is super. Okay, I'm gonna jump into the list of questions here.
AJ.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was just thinking it might be great if you run through the presentation quickly, and I can just present the question on screen.
That works too. That works too. Yeah. I'm just want to make sure that there's nothing directly pertaining to some of the slides that I just presented.
Okay.
Or I can always go back to that. Yeah, let's do that. I believe I have. So right now is the demo, and then let's jump into that. Because that may take a little bit of time. I'm going to switch into my incognito. Can everybody still see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, I can see your screen now. I mean, very
Awesome.
well, yes.
Thanks, man. Okay, so this is quicklabs.com, www.quicklabs.com. You will need to sign up, register an account. If you don't have one already, it's free. You just create an account. And so I'm going to log in with mine. And once I log in, right, this is the welcome landing page, and I go into catalog. Now, I mentioned, the Cloud Study Jam is an in-person event. You want to do 4 labs with them. So that's under this quest. I mentioned the word quest just now. Quest is nothing but a bundle of labs. Think of it as a group of labs, right? And the one that you'll be doing with your attendees is called GCP Essentials. That's like the most foundational, most basic stuff, right? And so if I go back very quickly to our sample agenda here, lab number 1 is creating a virtual machine. So that's right here, creating a virtual machine. If you want to do this lab as an introductory, a tour of Quick Labs and the Google Cloud Platform, you can do that too. I would just advise, don't spend too much time. There's a lot of things that's covered there, like IAM, users, roles, stuff that we may not need for all the labs that we want to cover as part of this Cloud Study Jam event. But it's still worth to spend like maybe 10 minutes to do like an introductory thing. But the 4 labs that we want you to focus on is creating a virtual machine, getting started with Cloud Shell, provision services with Marketplace, and creating a persistent disk. These are the 4 labs, right? When we do the next session, maybe 2 weeks from now, I'll walk you through each of these labs again. But for now, I just want to show you what it looks like, how to get started. So I'm going to click on this. This is lab number 1, creating a virtual machine. So I noticed that there was still a question about the free trial. So with a free trial, you would need to create your own GCP account. With Quick Labs, you don't have to do that. Everything is free of charge because you're using a Cloud Study Jam event, right? You're part of this event. And so notice here, there's no username and password right now. So all I got to do is click on Start Lab. Notice everything is free. Start the lab. And once Quick Lab starts the labs, what it does in the back end is it creates a temporary GCP account. It creates a password for me. And this is my GCP project ID. For those of you who've tried out GCP platform, we have a concept of a GCP project, right? And so all this is temporary, and it'll be available for you for 40 minutes. Why only 40 minutes? Because that's how long it takes to complete this lab. Every lab you do, you'll get a new set of credentials. So when you start lab, it will be populated here. Once you start lab, don't click on end lab because that will kill the account. So we don't want to do that. We want to do the lab. And so the first thing you want to do is start looking at the overview. Since I'm already familiar with it, I'm just going to jump a few steps here. So the first thing is click on Open Cloud Console. So click on that. It'll ask me for username and password. So I'm going to use a different account here. This is the account I'm going to use. I copy this, paste it right here. And again, get the password in the same way. Paste it right here. There's some terms of service for you to accept. And you are in the Google Cloud Platform console, right? Just one last terms of service to accept. And then notice that's me right here. This is the temporary account created by Quick Labs for you to use. So you didn't have to worry about putting your name, putting your credit card. All this is free for the next 40 minutes, right? That's how long the lab takes. On the menu, left-hand side menu, you notice, there's all the options, all the products that come out of GCP, and so you can take a look at it right here. And this is the project that I mentioned, right? That's the name of your project. So for this particular lab, what does it want me to do? Create a new instance. So in the console, the first step is, click on Compute Engine VM instances, and then click Create, call it some name, give it the region, and then one CPU, all the usual suspects basically. So I'm going to very quickly go in here and right here, Compute Engine, click on VM instances, click on Create, give it a decent name. I'm just going to follow whatever was given in the lab. Central 1 is fine, Central 1C. I'm just following exact steps from the lab, and then allow HTTP traffic, and then create. That's pretty much the first section of the lab, right? So while it creates, let's continue reading. So there's more steps to do. Now that in a while your server will be ready, your compute engine will be ready. So what do you want to do? I want to run some commands in my virtual machine, and then I'm going to install a web server. Yeah, the Nginx web server. And so those are the following steps. Now, notice, I'm going to get rid of this right here. Notice that my score initial was 0. Now I'm at 2. Why? Because I've been doing the steps, right? So this is one thing that a lot of people, I want everybody, I highly recommend everybody to, remember that as you do these labs, when you practice, and as you do this in the event, do highlight this to your attendees that make sure that they do all the steps, because unless you do all the steps, you're not going to get the complete score. And if you don't get the complete score, I could just scroll down till the end of the lab, and then I could just end lab. But that's not going to mark it complete because I haven't completed the lab. The scoring says so because there's a few steps I've missed, right? I haven't installed the Nginx a web server. I haven't created a new instance with the gcloud command. So in the back end, Quick Labs also has a check. It keeps checking whether I've done all these steps. And so as I do more steps, complete the steps, the score will keep on going higher. And let's say, in the interest of time, I'm just going to skip that. Let's say I'm already at the end of the lab and I've already got 15 out of 15. You're happy. Everybody's happy. You can click on End Lab. Okay. Once you click on End Lab, you can go back to the quest. And under My Learning, you can notice how many labs you've completed, right? So right here, notice my lab hasn't been completed because I ended before, and so it shows us incomplete. So it's very important that, for the Study Jam event, we want to make sure we highlight this to every attendee and let them know that they need to complete the labs before they end the labs. Sometimes you run out of time, and that's fine. Let's say you've done the first 3. The last one, you didn't get time. You had to move on to the next piece of the agenda. That's fine. Like I said, everybody has 30 days. So as long as they go back in those 30 days and they finish the lab, they're good to go, right? The least we want every attendee to do is do the 4 labs, right? That's the minimum, right? So like I said, keep that the communication going, the conversation going with all your attendees. However, whatever platform you're using to communicate with them. So even after the session, do check in with them that they are okay with accessing Quick Labs. If they have any issues, they should have complete free access for the next 30 days, even after the event. So that's the demo. I'll do other demos later when we do the next session, maybe 2 weeks from now. You can get more information about our training and certification on these URLs, cloud.google.com/training or /certification. This gives you a whole list of all the specializations, all the courses that are available online. And why do I mention that? Because for all you DSC leads and for all of the core team members, once we end this kickoff call, I think in the next 24 hours, expect an email from Solomon and Danny that will be inviting you to attend some cloud training online through Coursera. So as part of your prep to be ready to deliver this content, we are giving away 2 free courses for you. These are the Big Data and Machine Learning Fundamental course and the GCP Essentials course on Coursera. And again, this is all free of charge. This is only for our leads and our core team members so that they can get a good understanding of GCP platform in general, how it works, some of the basic building blocks like the networking, the storage, virtual machines, and all that good stuff. And so these courses also come with their separate set of labs. So there's plenty of labs for you to do, all free of charge. Everything will be sent to you through an email. Once you're done with that training, when you're ready to register your Cloud Study Jam event, you'll also get free tokens from Quick Labs to practice the 4 labs that I mentioned right here. Right? Ideally, we want you to complete. Let me jump here. Ideally, we want you to complete the whole quest. So not just the 4 labs, but besides the first 4 labs, if you notice, there's more on Kubernetes and Stackdriver. There's a few more, I think 3 more labs. So ideally, we want you to complete the whole quest. So look out for that email for the guidance, and you'll know where to go from there. And like I said, maybe 2 weeks from now, we're hoping to host another session. I'll be doing a train the trainer session, if you will, where I'll be walking you through each of the 4 labs so you know exactly what to expect, how to do these 4 labs, and if you get questions, how to tackle those questions. I believe that's all I have for the slides and the demo. I'm going to stop presenting here so that Solomon can take over and we can go over some questions.
Thank you very much, AJ. Thank you very much. I think this session was really a lot of learnings for everyone. So as AJ has said, after this call, actually I'm working on it right now. So after this call, you'll be receiving emails from me, giving you access to 2 Coursera courses, as I mentioned. For me, I think it's a very big opportunity for you guys. And for those who have who went through the pilot, you've taken these courses before, you know what they look like, and you've earned the certification. So you've benefited from this before, so you know the value in this. So I hope others can also gain a lot from this. To jump quickly to questions, I'll just go ahead and share my screen. But before that, I don't know if Danny would like to add anything to that.
Thank you, Solomon. You covered it very nicely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So my screen is up. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, great. Let me make sure. Yeah, cool. So for the first question here from Kelvin Kamal. Okay. So often people confuse Firebase and Google Cloud. What can be the best way to demystify the two?
Okay, so that's a great question. So to keep it very high level, and then we can dive into this more if you want to continue the discussion over email. Firebase was acquired by Google. I can't remember the year. I think 2014, 2015. And so it has stuff like Firestore, right? And so these are typically, when people talk about Firebase, Firestore, they think about the mobile environment. And true enough, right? So these are offerings that we have for you when you design your mobile apps, your mobile gaming apps, and all that good stuff. So the first few things that come to mind are Firebase and Firestore. And so you have these options as well. Google Cloud also has options like if you're working with App Engine, for example, to host your application logic, you would very likely work with Data Store because data store and cloud. Data store is kind of part of the App Engine offering, and it comes like out of the box, right? It just works very well. Not to say that it doesn't work well at other database options or storage options. Yes. The other thing that has happened recently is, I believe, at least the last time I checked, you can share the same project. And let's verify this very quickly. I'm still on my, okay, I'm outside of my console. But if you go into your Google Cloud Platform console, you will already see Firebase as an option in the left-hand side menu. Remember, I was doing the demo just now. And so Firebase is an option already. So within the same project, you have access to things like Cloud SQL, you have access to BigQuery, and you have access to Firebase as well, right? It's just like, it also depends on like what kind of environment you're using to run your application logic. So that's kind of my overview, but feel free to reach out to me over email if you want to know more.
Thank you, AJ. Moving on to the next question. So I'm a UI UX designer. How does Google Cloud apply to me?
So we talked a little about this, right? In general, there's a lot of categories, if you notice, on Google Platform that pertain to like networking, storage, machine learning engine, all that good stuff, right? That's basically, application data and application logic. But let's not forget that you'll have to design when you design stuff, right? It could be just a landing page. It could also be maybe a reporting tool. That comes under design as well. So you start thinking about, once I have the landing page, what do I want to design? What is the functionality going to come from? Is it going to be Google Data Studio? And so you start getting into that area of application logic. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you start thinking about, where am I going to host my application logic? If you're asking about like, do we have tools under Google Cloud Platform to help you design the UI? Super minimal, close to zero. It's not, GCP is not like a UI UX design tool, but when you start designing your UI UX, you'll start thinking about application logic, because now more so than ever, these two layers are more tightly integrated, tightly coupled together. So hopefully that kind of covers most of what you were trying to ask. If you have more follow-up, feel free to reach out.
Thank you. The next question. I'm a REST API developer, basically using Node.js. How does Google Cloud apply to me?
So I believe under App Engine, we also support Node.js. So let's see. Oh no, always verify. I'm just quickly going on to App Engine site here and looking at all the. There we go. So build your application in Node.js. I'm gonna, Solomon, am I able to
share your screen?
No, I'm just putting a URL there, but I think it's only gonna show. So cloud, I'm gonna read it out. cloud.google.com/app engine. If you go into that, Solomon, if you can try going to that, since you're sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, just scroll down a bit towards halfway through the landing page. Just scroll down.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm trying to make sure you can also view it. Yeah. So yeah, scroll down.
Keep going. There we go. Up. Sorry. Just a little up there. Popular languages. So Node.js is listed right there. And again, we've within App Engine itself, we've got App Engine Standard, App Engine Flexible, because the idea is, typically with App Engine, we can go back to the question list, Solomon. Thank you. Within App Engine, typically there's the idea is, a lot of things are already pre-configured. So if you need more flexibility or less flexibility, you can choose between those two environments. So yeah. If you're a REST API developer, that's just one example to show you that our products do come with Node.js support. But in general, you may be thinking about creating APIs for whatever services that you want to create. So again, there's application logic. There's some data it's going to be fetching. So definitely it applies to you.
Okay, thank you. So there's an interesting question quickly here. Um, I don't know if you want me to read it.
I'm looking at it. Thank you. Notice there's no GPA education grant for most African countries, and therefore you plan to make. I'm not too familiar with the education grant program, but for the Cloud Study Gem, like I mentioned, it's a free event. To whoever it's been communicated. Once you as leads kind of put it on whatever site, Meetup or whatnot. When you advertise your event, anybody and everybody can attend. Whoever you're promoting it to, and there's no need for them to pay anything. They come, enjoy the event, do some labs, hopefully complete a quest and earn a badge, and they will get up to 60 days worth of access to play around with GCP. But I can find out more about the education grant if you need more info. Thank you for the question. Quota exceeded. That's always a your quota is exceeded for this lab. What is one supposed to do? If you can, please send me a screenshot of that. Sometimes they how do I put this? When you notice me doing the demo, when I clicked on Start Lab, it quickly spins up a temporary GCP account and a password and a project for me. So these are resources that has already been pre-prepared on QuickLab side. Think of it as there's a staging area where we've prepared 200 projects for anybody to use on that lab. And so sometimes what can happen is one lab becomes so popular or one region becomes so popular that they start using up all the projects, and so it's just sometimes a matter of time. So that's what I've seen in the past. But if it's something tied up to your account, feel free to send me a screenshot of that of that error, and then we can follow up.
Okay.
I don't see the questions on the screen anymore. Did you want me to just?
Oh, you can't see my screen anymore.
Yeah. Or did I? Yeah, I think it stopped sharing.
Oh, okay. Let me go on again. Okay, can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, feel free to send me a screenshot of that or relay it via Solomon, and then I can follow up. Let's see. From Graham. Cloud Google Edu. So that's a URL. I guess. Okay. I can work on this offline with Danny, and then we'll Solomon, and then we'll get back to you with more information on Edu grants. But yeah, take advantage of the Cloud Study Jam. You get courses to enroll in, and it's all free, and then your attendees get to do everything for free as well. Okay. Oh, sorry, you've highlighted one up there. Sorry, Solomon, I didn't notice that. If you already held a Cloud Study Jam, can we still get access to the courses for us? Yes. So that was, I guess, part of the pilot, right? If you're part of the pilot, that's fine. That's great. So thank you for your participation and the feedback you guys gave us. For this round, Danny is going to work with Solomon, and then we're going to register all the leads and the core team members for the Coursera courses, and then you'll be able to do that. I'm not sure if your name is already added to the previous program. If you have access issues, do let me know. But the plan is to add everybody in the SSA team of leads and core team into the Coursera program. Okay. I think we answered the quota one.
Yep. So then during the pilots.
Unable to achieve Coursera certification because I exceeded the quota for one lab. When you say certification, I'm guessing this is course completion. Any help? So again, I think this is similar to one of the questions earlier. You exceeded the quota for one lab. So typically when that happens, you can just wait it out, maybe a day, and then start the lab from the beginning. It is unfortunate because maybe you're halfway through and then you exceed the quota. Although that hardly happens. Typically, it's when you want to start the lab. So like I said, sometimes it works by region, sometimes it works by lab or by course, and so one of them just becomes too hot, too popular for a period of time, and so we just run out of quota. But it keeps, if it still persists like beyond 24 hours, do quickly send me an email. And then if you're doing it on Coursera, there's also a Coursera forum for each course. So feel free to kind of put a comment there, and a screenshot if you can, and then our Coursera forum manager will relay it to one of us, and then we'll take a look at it. And the good thing is he will also pass the comment to the Quick Labs team, and so they are typically very, very fast in responding to these kind of bugs. All right, next question. So again, I tried. So this is about the GCP trial. I try not to use the word trial because it confuses people with the general GCP free trial that's available for everybody. But if you've used up your Cloud Study Jam trial, that's fine. If you're talking about you as a lead, like I said, we will give you more tokens to practice, and we will register you, enroll you in the Coursera courses. So for you to prepare, that's great. You'll be able to do it easily. For your attendees, I'm just covering both aspects of the question. So for your attendees, if they attended the Cloud Study Jam last time, they want to attend it again, and they've used up their 30-day trial period, 30-day access period, every event is unique. So if they attend that new event, they will get a whole new 30-day period to do labs. Okay, next question.
So I'll take this one quickly. How do I deploy intranet search within my hub if I use Google Cloud Platform? Do you have any ideas?
If I use Google, so my guess is you're trying to build a search tool for leveraging Google Cloud Platform. So there's many ways you can go about this, right? I mean, if you already have a spreadsheet of keywords, of keywords and URLs within your company's URL structure, you can host it on one of the smaller database options like Cloud Data Store or even BigQuery and run a search. That's just one option. Yeah, it really depends on how you have your data organized and how you have it indexed. Okay. So if we run out of time, guys, to answer the questions right now, we'll be sure to take time to kind of send you like a follow-up email with the responses. Okay. I'm reading the next one.
Thanks very much, AG. I know already we are running out of time. We've run out of time already. Oh,
I'll just do one more, Solomon, if you don't mind. Some content, Cloud Study Jam code labs in Coursera, which was very confusing. I can provide. Okay, so if you still see code labs, you shouldn't be doing that. We have already upgraded all the code because that's important. So all the code labs have been migrated to Quick Labs. So if you're looking at a course and you're seeing code labs, you're using the old version of the course. So you should be able to upgrade to the newest version of the course, and you should be only doing Quick Labs, not code labs. The code labs are not maintained, so that's why there could be confusion there. Things may not work, and so just make sure you upgrade to the latest version of the course. You can easily do that from the Coursera UI, and you should be good to go. But again, feel free to reach out if you have issues.
We can take one or two more questions. I'm just trying to see.
Okay, sure.
So.
Is the Coursera content going to be okay? Sorry.
Which one do you want? This one?
That's very specific. I think yeah, there we go. Coursera content going to be available for learners during the study jam? No. So the Coursera content, we don't want to overwhelm the attendees with too much content. The Coursera content is for you as leads and core team when you facilitate, and then you'll have questions that are outside of the labs, but still very much pertaining to GCP. And so these Coursera courses are to help you prepare for such questions. Like, for example, in the labs, we're only covering compute engine, we're covering Cloud Shell, but there could be a question on BigQuery, right? And so if it's a basic question like, what is BigQuery? How does it differ from Cloud Storage or Cloud Shell? So you can have a one-liner ready because you would have gone through the course. But like I said, the course is a time commitment, and so you'll need some time to go through it, understand it, and you as a lead, hopefully, will do many, many Cloud Study Jam sessions over the year. And so if you don't get questions in your session number 1, you'll get questions in the future sessions. And so we just want you to be prepared. For the learners, we're not thinking about the Coursera right now, but let's also see how the first quarter and second quarter go with the study jam, and then we can always come back and take another stab at it.
Okay, thanks, AJ. We can take 2 more questions, I think.
I'll take one final one because I got to jump into a different session. So right there, can you complete all the labs in one session? Yes, 4 hours is usually enough, provided you have the attendee slide decks ready, you're familiar with the content, and you've practiced all the 4 labs. And one crucial thing is the physical resources like internet, and people have brought their laptops. So if all that is going okay, it's not difficult to finish all the 4 labs in the session, in the 4 hours.
Okay, thank you very much, AJ, for your time. I think already we've run out of time, and you've been very gracious to help us through all of this. Just one final thing. I don't know if Danny would like to quickly, to provide thoughts around the next steps. I know AJ had mentioned it. So after this call, I'll be sending out invite to everyone, the DSC leads and core team members who were part of this call, providing access to the Coursera content AJ had originally described. And in coming days, we'll be organizing a trainer session where you get to understand more on what you own. I think AJ would like to chip in there, right?
Yep. So I mentioned those 2 things. Yeah. So thanks for highlighting that again. So the email will be coming from Solomon, yourself, and Danny, and then we'll schedule another train the trainer session to do a more deep dive on the labs.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thank you very much, Anidi, Lai, Danny, everyone, for making our time to be part of this call. On this note, we'll say thank you also to the audiences for joining, because thanks. On this note, we'll say bye-bye for now, and see you soon.
Thanks, Solomon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.